1105 driver back here, and today I'm planting soybeans. Today's the 3rd of June. I actually started last night in this field, and hopefully if everything goes well today I'll get at least this field finished up. Check the oil here on the tractor. You see, looks a little different. It's not a grain drill and a 285 this year. It's a 1105 and a corn planter. So let's do a start up here. I don't do many cold starts. Whoops. Probably help if I had the key. Forgot I had that in the truck. There it is. Get this thing started up and let it warm up a minute or two. And while it's warming up, I'll explain what I've got going on here. Yeah, I just finished planting corn yesterday, and I cleaned the planter up, got the fertilizer boxes cleaned out and everything. At about 4 o'clock, and I thought, oh, let's go check the fields out that are going to get beans. And I came over here, and geez, it's ideal planting conditions. And you see there's some weeds out there, but they're all dead. I had a burn down done on this field about a month ago. It was fit back then, at least to get in and spray, and they got it burned down good. So I don't know if that's allowed it to dry a little quicker or what, because usually this field will lay wet for a little while, and as wet as we've been, I can't believe it's this firm. But anyhow, I cleaned the fertilizer boxes out, not putting any fertilizer on with the beans. I have Kinsey brush meters that fit in on these boxes. So as you can see, I got soybeans in here, treated beans. Seed Consultant 3.1s, same thing I've planted the last 2 years. But you swap the finger pickup out with the brush meter, and then I have a chart. When I bought the brush meters, I got them from Shoop. They send you this chart, and I was shooting for 175,000 roughly. And before I get too far, I have planted this in here, and you see I've got the 30-inch rows. I'm actually going to come back through here later on, and I'm going to try and offset 15-inch and split my rows, so I'll have 15-inch rows on the field. So anyhow, I went down here and I looked. Now hopefully you can see this pretty good. I was shooting for 175,000. Well, on the 15-inch rows, they don't have that option. They've got 166,000 and 190. So what I did was I set up at the 166,000, which was, it says sprockets 14 and 22 on the driver and driven, but on my planter I actually have to cut these numbers in half because I don't have the bigger sprocket. These are for the original bigger sprockets. Mine are the smaller ones for some reason. But so I set up at 7 and 11, and I planted up through here. I started down here and came up through here part ways, and then I measured on 30-inch rows, you measure 17 feet 5 inches, and you count your seeds, and then you multiply by 1,000 to get your population. I did that, and I had 74, I want to say, which doubled. You double it for the 15-inch rows, would be 148,000, say, and I was a little light. So the next setting up was 190,000, which is plenty thick. So it'd be 95 seeds in that 17 feet 5 inches if everything's working right. So I bumped it up to that setting, which all I had to do was, and I'll show you here on your sprockets. See, these are my sprockets on the back, and I got 11, 13, 7, 14, and 9 on the top, and I've got 11, 13, 7, 15, and 8 on the bottom. And the bottom is the driven, or driver, and the top is the driven. So all I had to do was move from the 7 to the 8 to get to the next setting, and I I continued on up to the end of the field, and then I went back and measured and dug, and I was coming up with around 90. So doubled would be 180, and that's about right where I want to be, so that's what I went with. And I'm putting them in roughly an inch. They're anywhere from probably 3/4 to 1 1/4 inches, depending on because this ground's not perfectly level, obviously. So I'm shooting for 1 inch deep. I could probably go a little deeper. I could probably go a little shallower, but 1 inch seems like a pretty good number to go with, and there's plenty of moisture in the ground, so they should get a good start. But so I've gotten, if you start that tree over there on this side of the building, I've gotten to about the edge here where I started the headland, just the 30-inch rows. So I'm going to continue on over to the end of the field with my 30s. Then I'm going to block my markers up on the planter so they don't come down anymore. And then I'm going to turn around and come back, and I'm debating on how to do this. I'd like to just pick a spot, and of course you probably can't see it, but my marker arm would have been between these 2 rows, but I can't even see my scratch from yesterday, or I'm not splitting it perfect. But anyhow, that marker arm should be at 15 inch if everything's right in between the rows. So I'm thinking I could just line up on this row, and then my planter would be shifted 15 inches, because I don't want to get any further toward the grass than this row. I kind of hugged the edge, that way I could go from there in, and I'll turn around and I'll come back and try and follow that fourth row is what I'm hoping, because when I plant back and forth, I put the center of my hood on my marker arm for the 30-inch rows. So I'm thinking if I'm on this row, it should offset me 15. I'll have to try it. Another suggestion was these hitches will swivel or swing. So you can't see it because there's a bunch of crap on there, but there's 2 pins that hold that drawbar, and it was suggested to me to pull a pin out and swing the drawbar one way or the other, and there's other holes in there to hold the hitch and offset the hitch. Somebody told me I heard of a guy doing that and then following the same tire tracks back and forth, and that would offset it. But I don't know if that thing will. It seems to me it's only going to move 6 inches, maybe 6 to 8 inches, and I don't know if that's enough to make up that 15 inches. So I think I'm just going to try and line up with the 4th row coming back and see how that works. It's certainly harder than it looks. You think it'd just be easy to offset, and I tried it down there where that tree line comes out. I planted my 30-inch rows, and then I went back, and of course it looks straight from here, but it actually curves, and I planted on the curve and then I turned around and just tried to split those rows, and then I ended up being just a few inches off, which, back there I don't really care. And then there's groundhogs, there's a whole colony back in there. They're going to eat all that stuff anyhow. That's another reason why I wanted to be a little thicker. I could probably get by with 150 to 160,000 on the 30 or on the 15-inch rows, but this field there's groundhogs everywhere. Those trees are lined with them, and this barn is full of them, so they're going to eat a lot. So I wanted to be thicker to hopefully give myself a chance of getting a decent stand. So that's kind of the game plan for today. And they're calling for rain around noon, and now I see clouds moving in. So I want to get going here, and I'd like to at least get this field done. After I get this field done, there's another 3-acre field, but it's got a couple little wet spots in it. So if I get to it today, great. If I don't, great. It wouldn't hurt if we didn't get much rain. I think the forecast looks decent for this week. It would dry out later on, but this was all kind of, I didn't have any idea this field was fit, because we had a lot of rain last weekend and through the week, and it seemed like town here got blasted pretty good, but it must not have came north of town, because south of town they're flooded, and this is north of town and it seems fine. So So I haven't even put fertilizer on this yet. I was told as long as I get it on before the beans come up, I'll be fine. So hopefully I can get, I would normally do it myself, but I kind of got the cart in front of the horse here, not knowing what was going on. But I'll have the co-op come out and spread on this here first of the week and get that done. They'll have more time than I will. So anyhow, I'm going to get rolling here, and I'll be back with you in a little bit and show you what's going on.